Alright, in the last few videos for the door build, we cut the copper to this cool shape and added a wild blue patina pattern to it. Then we resawed some shop sawn veneers for the center panel. Now if you haven't been keeping up to speed on what's going on, be sure to hit that subscribe button and finger that bell so you know what is going on. So this week we're going to build the structure of the door. Alright, this door is going to be what's called a stave door. So instead of a solid wood frame, it's going to be strips of solid wood that are glued back together, so that way it's more stable from warping and expansion, contraction, and all that. So I'm going to cut this board up into strips and then stand it up. That way it's more of a quarter sawn board that's going to be a lot more stable, much less likely to get stuck when the temperature and the expansion, contraction of the humidity and seasons change and all that good stuff. Alright, I have my staves cut and milled. The inner three are alder, and I have the grain going back and forth to add some strength and stability to it. And then the outer two are just some maple, because that'll hold some paint nice and also take a little bit of a beating from just getting banged around. That's going to be my sides, and then once this is glued up, I'm going to run this across the joiner and through the planer and then put a veneer over the top. And these guys are just some plywood cauls to help distribute the clamping pressure while I'm gluing it up. So let's get gluing. Alright, I got my staves glued up and into some rails and stiles. So now I just need to joint these to get them all nice and squared up and send them through the planer to get the thickness I need. And then we'll veneer the face veneer on top. I have my veneer bag set up here, and I got my rails and stiles ready to go, milled down to the proper thickness, and my face veneer set up ready to be veneered onto my pieces here. So the face veneers for my rails and stiles of the door are shop sawn veneers, and I resawed them the same time I resawed the veneers for the main panel in the last video. Now, even though these are 1/8 of an inch thick veneers, I'm not going to use a traditional veneer glue. I'm going to use Titebond 2's exterior grade glue because I just want that extra water resistance due to the fact that this is an exterior door, so it is facing the elements. So I just want that extra protection with the exterior grade glue instead of the veneer glue. Alright, so looking at the clock, I'm going to do the other rail and stiles separately, so that way I don't push the set time of the glue too long. So I'm going to seal this up and then come back in an hour and do the other ones. Alright, so I got my rails and stiles all glued up here with the face veneer on it. They're looking pretty good. I made them oversized intentionally by a little bit so I can run one edge across the jointer to square it up and then cut the other side at the table saw to make it perfectly parallel, and then they're a little long in length as well, so I'll cut them to their final length and then we'll get on to joinery. Alright, when I cut the door to length, I saved this end piece, so it's got the copper veneered on this end, and then this end is just the wood side of the door. And then I milled up a couple of test blocks the same thickness as my rails and stiles. So that way I can set up a dado blade to test to make sure it fits in here. So the first test was a little bit loose, and then I adjusted to where it's just a nice perfect fit. Alright, I got this end squared up. So I'm going to line up my cut here. I'm going to clamp a stop down here, so that way when I cut my other rail, they'll be the exact same length, helping guarantee that my door will be square. All right, this is going to be a tongue and groove situation here, but this little 1/2 inch groove here isn't going to be very strong, so I'm going to back it up with some floating tenons here that will go in there to hold it secure, add a little bit of additional strength. All right, just use my dado stack to create the tenon. It's a pretty good fit, so I'll just work on my way around on the rest of them. All right, now I need to route this side out, the thickness of the copper here, so I'm going to just set it here and line it up and then mark it. Alright, Festool makes these super long dominoes that you just cut to length, to whatever length you need. So since we have this offset here, standard domino is not going to work. So I'm going to use this guy and just cut it to the length minus this offset. Alright, I left it about 1/4 inch long. That way, if anything got out of square during glue up, I could re-square the door by just trimming off that extra 1/4 inch. So it turned out really square during glue up, so I'm not too worried about it being out of square at this point, but I am going to, I do need to trim that 1/4 inch off now. So I'm going to just clean up the ends here with my track saw. Alright, so I have my curve that's going to go down the center of the door. I'm just going to position it on here to where it fits the best. And this section right here where it's hanging off and the little tip here, I'm going to use the bottom chunk of the board, joint that edge and glue it on here, and glue a little piece up there, and then just cut the whole thing out of one board there. Alright, so I have my blank for the curve glued up, but since the door is two-sided, there's an inside face and an outside face, I am resawing that blank in half, so that way I have a curve for both sides, for the outside of the door and the inside of the door. Alright, I sent these guys through the thickness planer to get them down to the right thickness. I got my template positioned, and I'm just going to trace it out here. And then when I go to the bandsaw, I'm going to spend some time at the bandsaw to carefully cut it out. And I'm going to leave the line maybe a 1/16 plus larger, so that way I can pattern route it and it'll be nice and smooth. Alright, I got my jig set up covering the copper to help position where this is going to go. I have marked it, and this is just my plywood jig, so I'm going to do a test cut first in case I screw it up. And since now I don't have any way to reference this square in the saw, at least not very easy, I'm just going to cut that by hand and hope I can cut straight. Alright, I'm very happy with that fit. And I got the other end cut. So that's my plywood template piece. So now I'm going to use that to cut the actual piece. I have my template clamped to my actual work piece. Alright, and don't worry that it's maple. This is going to get painted black in the end. Alright, we're nice and tight on that end. Nice and tight on this end. So, now it's not laying flat because the thickness of the copper is on top of this. So I need to route out a shallow channel on this back edge to accept the copper, to make up for that additional thickness. Alright, so I need to transfer this curve to these cross brace pieces. So just going to get everything in position lined up here. Cut little scrap pieces just to help hold things up. Alright, I have a couple marks on the inside edge here to help me keep everything lined up, and I'm just going to put some tape here, just not necessarily to hold it firm, but just to kind of keep it from wiggling around. Alright, I'm pretty happy with that. That's just like a hairline there. Once I glue it down and sand it flush, it'll be a pretty nice little joint there. Alright, that's it for this week. Next week we're going to add the hinges and the handle to the door and do the final finishing touches. Thanks for watching.